Hey, Sean G here from Chasing the Truth. You're about to get some of the best of samples of shows I've done over the last 5 years. God bless y'all and enjoy.
On anyone's toes or go too off point, too off a
The
topic.
only
But
person
just a
you're
real quick
step,
story.
the only person you can possibly step on their toes is me, and I only got one leg, so go right ahead.
You remind me of this guy in London, England. I went on a trip to London, and my buddies and I were on this. It was kind of like a missions trip, I guess. And he dropped a suitcase on this guy's toe, and the guy made a big to do about it. Oh man, he's like hopping up and down. And my friend was like, "Dude, I'm so sorry." And this guy was super typical British humor. Goes, "Hey, that's all right. I got another toe just like it. No worries." So anyway, but so
Go
this one
right ahead.
happened here at way in deep South Texas, and I'm asleep in my bed, and I hear and feel something with a very large chest cavity sniffing and breathing very rapidly in and out right through my window. I had cracked my window. I had a screen on it, so I kept it cracked at night. And this thing was so close to me that I literally just froze, expecting to feel its nose touch the back of my neck. And I'm inside, I'm in my bed. And it was so terrifying. I just literally froze. And I said, "Oh my God, there's a huge bear or something inside my room with me." And I was terrified. And it wasn't a dream because it literally woke me up and I just froze. So when I was finally able to lift myself up, and the only reason why I did this is because I heard it moving away. The reason I knew it was moving away was because I could hear dogs in the neighborhood up along this riverbank that was right by our house. I could hear them begin barking further and further away. So this thing was moving up along that, and as it would get close to each house, the dogs would start barking further away. So I knew it was moving away. And so I got up and I called 911. That's how scared I was. And that's how sure I was that I had just experienced this. And the first thing I asked her is, "Do we have bears in South Texas?" And she said, "I don't think so." And I said, "Well, something very large was just near my window sniffing. And now our dog is barking and growling and freaking out." And so I hear this thing going further and further away. And then I start hearing it coming back. And again, I'm not hearing it. I'm hearing the sound of these dogs barking as it's getting back. It's coming
Mm-hmm.
back. And then I hear like a growl, and I'm like, okay, there's definitely something out here. Now there's a person who lives off of this highway that goes up to what's considered South Padre Island here by where I live, and he keeps zoo animals. The guy has giraffes and other zoo animals for some strange reason. He keeps them out there. I don't know if he keeps them for the zoo or what. I thought one of his bears has got to have escaped, or a lion or a tiger or something. Like this has got to be an escaped zoo animal. That's all I could think of. So the police show up. They're very skeptical. They're kind of sort of laughing. It's about 2:30 in the morning. I had to be at work 7 a.m. the next morning. And so they show up. They come in the backyard. They're on their radio. "Hey, headquarters, we're out here on this call. The guy said there's some kind of animal out here." And they start to walk. Now, here's what happened. Later on, they claimed that we got the game warden involved, that it was a gator. That what I heard was a gator. Now, gators do hiss and gators do growl, but they can't get up to a window that's about 5 feet off the ground. That's something a gator can't do. So this thing
Unless it had
was on the
some other
opposite.
gators helping it, maybe.
Yeah, right, exactly. He got his gator buddies helping lift him up so he can see
Yeah,
what's going on. He's got to turn his head sideways, so he can see out that one eye.
yeah.
But anyway, there's a tree right over the fence of our house. The tree is tall enough where you can see the leaves only because there's light reflecting from our back porch, but you can't see beyond it. It's pitch black out there. No lights. It's just pitch black going over that riverbed. And so whatever it was behind that tree. Now, these police officers both start walking towards that direction. Now, if it had been a gator, I know gators can feel the vibration on the ground, but I believe a gator, you have to get really close to it, if not physically touch it, to get it to react. That's I don't have a whole lot of experience with gators, but I believe you'd have to get close to it. But as soon as they started taking steps towards it, this thing growled so aggressively. And there was like a message in the growl. It was like, if you come any closer, like I'm about to seriously screw up your day. And both of these cops at the exact same time jumped backwards and drew their guns and pointed it, not down at the ground where you'd expect a gator to be. No, they both had their guns pointed at the top of this tree, and they were terrified. They drew their guns and were pointing it and got on the radio and said, headquarters, you need to get game wardens out here now. We've got some kind of very large predator or something out here. And I said, I told you, I'm jumping up and down behind him. I told you, I know I wasn't crazy. I told you I heard it. I knew it was a bear. It's a bear. It's a bear. And they're just standing there with their guns drawn, just like waiting for this thing to come towards them, whatever it was. And so the game warden finally comes out. Now, granted, I had to go to work the next day. So eventually I had to go on inside and go back to sleep. And I had my mom tell me what happened later. She said the game warden came out. He spent about 3 hours out there trying to dig up under the ground to find this quote unquote gator that we never ever saw. They never saw a gator. No gator was ever seen. And he said, well, it probably just had itself stuck in one of these PVC pipe drainages, probably like a 3 or 4 foot gator, and he just was growling. But he probably figured a way to get himself out and go back out into the water and swim away. And I'm like, what? Like that was the conclusion that he came to, that it was a gator, that it was stuck down in the ground. And so I just never really thought more about it, because even the neighbors said, oh yeah, we've seen gators out here before. So I just accepted it was a gator. Now, this many years later, and it's been probably over 20 years, I can't help but think there was definitely something else going on, especially with the way it was right in my window, so close to me. And it was, I know gators can hiss, but this wasn't a hiss. This was something breathing, like deep.
Hey folks, thanks for listening to this best of sample of some of my 5 years in doing this radio show podcast called Chasing the Truth. Please visit imdarkwaters.com, or you can email me at seang@imdarkwaters.com. And my numbers and links are in the description below. God bless y'all, and I'll catch you on the flip side.